noches a todos y muy bienvenidos a este primer Foro Internacional de ProChile en la Cámara de Comercio de Santiago. Antes de empezar, me gustaría recordarles que este taller cuenta con interpretación simultánea, la cual pueden activar utilizando el botón de interpretación que tiene la aplicación Zoom en la zona inferior de sus pantallas. Welcome everyone to this international forum by ProChile and the Santiago Chamber of Commerce. Before we start, I would like to remind everyone that this forum will use simultaneous interpretation, English to Spanish and Spanish to English, which is provided by Zoom in the bottom that you will find on the inferior part of your screens. I would also like to remind you that should you have any question for our panelists, you can send it through the Q&A section of Zoom. With that said, I would like to welcome everyone to this first international forum by ProChile and the Santiago Chamber of Commerce titled Digital Transformations Post-COVID, Asia's Business Environment Towards 2030. To start this forum, I would like to invite our host, Mr. Jorge O'Ryan, Director General of ProChile, to deliver his opening remarks. Director O'Ryan, the floor is yours.
Very much, Fernando. Es un gusto estar hoy día con ustedes de acá, ya de noche, son un poco más de las 10 de la noche en Chile. Un muy buenos días al Asia. Quiero saludar muy especialmente a todos los que nos están escuchando, a todos los que están participando. Me dijeron que se inscribieron más de 600 personas. Y quiero saludar muy especialmente primero a Juan Sutil, que es el presidente de la Confederación de la Producción y Comercio. Para quienes están lejos y escuchándonos, es el presidente de todos los empresarios de Chile. Agrupa fundamentalmente a las asociaciones de la industria, del comercio, de la construcción, de la agricultura, de la minería y de los bancos. Quiero saludar también a nuestros panelistas participantes, al señor Shinya Kukita, Principal NEC Corporation, Yami Lin, Founder of APP Works, Luis Ma, Director of TI Maxims Group Hong Kong, y Yang Jung Song, Senior Research Fellow LG. Y por supuesto, nuestro querido amiga y quien va a acompañarnos también hoy día, que es Iván Vera, socio fundador de Inspire, un reconocido empresario, emprendedor, profesor, y también miembro de nuestro consejo para la innovación en ProChile. Yo quisiera hoy día fundamentalmente señalar que hemos organizado varios foros internacionales como ProChile, y este es el primer foro internacional de transformación digital en Asia. Es el primero de una serie de foros internacionales que hemos querido organizar para precisamente orientar a las empresas con respecto a las nuevas tendencias mundiales que deberán enfrentar en un periodo post-pandemia. Estos foros son la oportunidad de compartir con actores clave de los negocios internacionales. Por eso, el prestigio de los panelistas, acercándonos a la tendencia de inclusividad, de sostenibilidad y digitalización que el comercio experimentará durante los próximos años. El mundo de los negocios internacionales está reestructurándose, producto de la pandemia, como de las nuevas tendencias que la preceden. Así que no hay que engañarse, esto es una mezcla. Y ProChile quiere estar con ustedes, quiere estar con nuestros exportadores, con nuestros inversionistas, también con los inversionistas extranjeros, para asegurarnos que Chile y sus empresas están en la vanguardia de los cambios que nos marcarán durante la próxima década. ProChile, para algunos que a lo mejor no saben, no están escuchando, es una agencia de promoción de exportaciones que apoya las inversiones extranjeras en Chile, apoya el turismo, y también apoya la imagen país. Y fue fundada hace más de 45 años. Entonces, nosotros queremos hacer este aporte, impulsando a formar parte de un comercio mundial que ha crecido enormemente en las últimas décadas, y hemos recorrido este camino de la internacionalización con las pymes de Chile, viendo el camino como muchas de ellas han pasado de pymes a grandes empresas, a medida que aumentaban su presencia en los mercados globales. El comercio internacional para Chile es el 57% del Producto Interno Bruto y genera una parte importante de los empleos de este país. Somos un país tremendamente abierto al mundo. Por eso la importancia de esta agencia de promoción de exportación y de inversión. El entorno empresarial ha cambiado y la actual pandemia que vivimos nos ha empujado hacia una situación crítica de los cambios de varias áreas del funcionamiento de la sociedad, como el teletrabajo, la telemedicina, la educación a distancia y el comercio electrónico. En este contexto nos preguntamos, bueno, ¿qué puede hacer ProChile para apoyar a las empresas chilenas en este nuevo mundo digital? Que para el Asia es algo que está muy familiarizado, está muy cercano, porque llevan trabajando mucho tiempo. Para nosotros en Chile nos ha empujado con mucha fuerza post-pandemia. Estamos en el negocio de la internacionalización de las empresas, no de la digitalización, pero la internacionalización de las empresas no debe pasar por alto el factor digital, que como decía en la actualidad, y tal como se está viviendo el mundo, tenemos que priorizar nuestra estrategia de negocios, en nuestros business plans, y no solamente en el sector privado, sino que también en el sector público. El primero es la digitalización de ProChile. No estamos ciegos ante la necesidad de desarrollar herramientas digitales que nos ayuden a interactuar con nuestros clientes, para poder brindarle un mejor servicio. Nunca nos tenemos que olvidar que nuestros clientes son nuestro primer norte, nuestro primer objetivo. Y ahí hemos avanzado rápidamente hacia una transformación digital en nuestro sistema de gestión. Segundo, es el impulso que damos a nuestros clientes a su propia internacionalización, porque hemos diseñado programas de promoción comercial que benefician a aquellas empresas que han superado los límites de la transformación digital por sí mismos, principalmente a través de nuestros programas de internacionalización de la innovación. Tercero, es la digitalización de los canales de distribución de nuestros clientes, con un foco en el e-commerce. Hemos sido testigos del crecimiento explosivo que han tenido los canales de comercio electrónico en todo el mundo. La ventaja comparativa que solían representar los tratados de libre comercio, Chile tiene 29, llegamos casi al 90% del PIB mundial. Ahora está siendo reemplazado por la capacidad de una empresa para posicionarse en el canal del comercio electrónico, el denominado B2B, B2C, y transfronterizo. Hemos desarrollado varias herramientas, particularmente en Asia, para ayudar a las empresas chilenas a unirse a la plataforma de comercio electrónico y propiedad de ellas. El cuarto y último frente es la área de capacitación. Regularmente realizamos capacitaciones para empresas chilenas interesadas en la internacionalización. Y ahora estamos diciendo que si quieren unirse con éxito al comercio internacional, también deben estar preparadas para transformar digitalmente sus negocios. Por eso, y aquí termino, el Foro Internacional de hoy es un paso más en esa dirección. No tengo ninguna duda de que los grandes líderes que compartirán su experiencia, quienes nos acompañan hoy como panelistas, y con Iván Vera, iluminarán a varias empresas chilenas para dar el siguiente paso. Para mí es un honor contar hoy día, y reitero mi agradecimiento, con un grupo de panelistas internacionales excepcionales y un moderador maravilloso con nosotros hoy. Todos han sido actores clave en los procesos de transformación digital que había sacado en sus mercados. El señor Kukita en Japón, el señor Lin en Taiwán, el señor Ma en Hong Kong, el señor Song en Corea e Iván Vera en Chile. Permítanme además transmitir mi más profundo agradecimiento en nombre de ProChile a todos los panelistas, así como a todos aquellos que han hecho posible este foro, muy especialmente a nuestros profesionales de ProChile en Chile y en nuestras oficinas comerciales en Japón, Corea, Taiwán y Hong Kong. Un gran abrazo virtual desde la distancia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Director General O'Ryan. With your words, we will now give the floor to Mr. Juan Sutil, President of the Confederation of Production and Commerce of Chile, to deliver his opening remarks.
Quisiera partir agradeciendo a los organizadores de este interesante foro internacional, ProChile y la Cámara de Comercio de Santiago. Muchas gracias por invitarme y ser parte de este evento. Tenemos el privilegio de contar hoy con la presencia de representantes de importantes empresas de Asia. Estamos muy expectantes de la conversación que ellos tendrán bajo la moderación de Iván Vera, un gran líder en innovación y transformación digital de nuestro país. En estas palabras de apertura, me gustaría reflexionar brevemente sobre la base de dos preguntas. La primera es, ¿Por qué necesitamos avanzar en la transformación digital en Chile? Y la segunda es, ¿por qué miramos a Asia para este objetivo? Para responder la primera pregunta me gustaría referirme al índice de transformación digital que publica anualmente la Cámara de Comercio de Santiago. Los resultados fueron recibidos positivamente en su publicación de este año 2019. El estudio mostró que nuestro país pasó de la categoría de principiante a un nivel intermedio digital, obteniendo 43 puntos en esta escala de total de 100. Pero este resultado debe ser visto con cautela. Estamos lejos de ser nativos digitales y esto es algo que también vemos dentro de nuestras empresas. Si bien es cierto, estamos avanzando, aún nos queda mucho que recorrer en el camino de la transformación digital, lo que puede limitar nuestra competitividad en el mundo cada vez más digital y cada vez más agresivo en términos de la competencia. Estamos trabajando en ello y en este último año la pandemia ha sido un incentivo en materia de digitalización y sin duda esto reportará grandes avances en el próximo índice. De todos modos, Chile debería embarcarse en programas de transformación digital mucho más agresivos. Paso ahora a contestar la segunda pregunta, que planteé al inicio en relación a por qué Asia. Al observar el ranking internacional, por ejemplo, el ranking mundial sobre competitividad digital, vemos que las economías del este de Asia siempre se ubican en lugares realmente altos, rompiendo nuevas barreras a medida que avanzan los años. Además, si miramos el índice asiático de transformación digital, vemos un ranking encabezado por Singapur, seguido por Corea del Sur, Japón, Hong Kong y Paraguay. Hoy tenemos la suerte de contar con panelistas de primera línea, de 4 de los principales 5 representantes de transformación digital de Asia. Queremos aprender de su experiencia, tanto de su éxito como de su fracaso, para aplicarle en un salto en la digitalización de Chile, preparándonos para estar a la vanguardia de los desafíos económicos del siglo XXI. Como representante de las empresas chilenas, a través de la Confederación de la Producción y el Comercio, quisiera, en mis últimas palabras, sean de aliento para todas aquellas empresas que fueron concebidas en un mundo predigital, pero que necesitan llevar adelante un proceso de transformación para seguir siendo competitivas. Cada transformación representa un desafío, tanto desde el sector público como del sector privado. Y estamos poniendo todos los medios posibles para ayudar a nuestras empresas a alcanzar estos objetivos y digitalizar sus negocios. Gracias una vez más y les deseo que tengamos una interesante conversación en el día de hoy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Juan Sutil, for these welcoming remarks. And to wrap up this first section, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Tania Jovanovic. She is the president of the Chilean chapter of the Latin American Network for Digital Transformation. Tania, we welcome your opening remarks. You have the floor.
Thank you. Buenas noches y buenos días a todas y a todos. Cuando me invitaron a darles algunas palabras sobre la transformación digital post-pandemia, me fue inevitable no pensar en que no hay un vuelta atrás. Ya dimos un paso sin retorno. Y para eso siento que debemos considerar 3 cosas fundamentales. Contexto VUCA, transformación digital, pero en su sentido amplio, y el rol de la mujer en la transformación digital. Partamos por el contexto VUCA, que significa que vivimos en un ambiente volátil, incierto, complejo y también ambiguo, y que nos resistíamos a creer. Nuestra mente lineal se aferra a lo conocido, a lo seguro, a lo establecido, a lo predecible. Pero nuestro mundo en realidad nunca ha sido así. Y ahora más que nunca lo estamos viviendo. El contexto es y será VUCA, por lo que se vuelve una necesidad de entender con qué herramientas contamos para vivir en este entorno. Debemos entender que para la volatilidad es necesario tener una visión y un propósito compartido a largo plazo. Entender que para lo incierto hay que aplicar el entendimiento del contexto. Entender que para lo complejo hay que clarificar con herramientas de comunicación efectiva. Y para lo ambiguo debemos aplicar la agilidad, o sea, fracasar rápido y barato. ¿Y qué pasa con la transformación digital? Hasta el momento muchas personas, específicamente líderes, siguen pensando que la transformación digital es digitalizar, que tiene que ver totalmente con tecnología. Y es ahí el por qué muchas transformaciones digitales han fracasado. Porque no tienen una estrategia de transformación digital, por poner tecnología en procesos que no necesitan, y especialmente por no entender la evolución que hemos tenido las personas y el entorno VUCA donde nos estamos moviendo. Cuando vemos la transformación digital en su sentido amplio, es donde aparecen las oportunidades. Y verlo en su sentido amplio significa entender que las personas cambiamos, o sea, clientes y colaboradores cambiaron, que ya no queremos vivir para trabajar, que nos importan valores profundos y nos mueven propósitos trascendentales. Entender que la humanidad completa ya se está movilizando con los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible de la ONU, por ejemplo. Entender que vivimos en un momento histórico que trae la cuarta revolución industrial, que son las tecnologías exponenciales. Y el mismo Klaus Schwab dijo que la cuarta revolución industrial no cambiará lo que hacemos, sino lo que somos. Y dada la relevancia que tiene el sentido humano en la transformación digital para las empresas, para las organizaciones, para la academia, incluso para los gobiernos, es que es vital contar con complementariedad de género. El rol de la mujer es fundamental porque gracias al equilibrio que se logra con las características femeninas y las masculinas, es que lograremos al fin la tan necesaria transformación digital. Está claro para mí que la transformación digital, sin equidad de género, sin incluso ecología, sin los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible de la ONU, sin un propósito trascendente, es igual que usar solamente tecnología. Y eso no es en realidad transformación digital. La pandemia disparó muchas cosas, una serie de cosas, por lo que tenemos muchas más oportunidades ahora en avanzar en todos los temas de transformación digital, cuando es bien entendida en su sentido amplio. Cambió el mundo, cambiamos nosotros y debemos abrirnos a este sinfín de posibilidades. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Tanya Jovanovic, for your welcoming and very inspiring words indeed. And with that, we wrap up the first section of this forum and we will move on to the panel. And as we move into the panel conversation, where we are honored to count with the presence of distinguished panelists, and a moderator, I would like to introduce them briefly. In this panel, we will be exploring issues related to the business operation and its environment, guided by Mr. Iván Vera. Iván is a renowned international speaker, highly involved with issues related to digital transformation in Chile. He's the founder and president of Inspiral, Magical Startups, and Turingo. We are glad to have him guide this conversation today. In our panel, we are also highly encouraged by the relevance that each of our panelists play in each of their markets on issues related to digital transformation. Mr. Shinya Kukita is the principal of the Global Public Policy Relations Office of NEC Corporation. Currently, he's an evangelist for the international market regarding cloud computing, software-defined networking, AI, IoT, 5G, and smart cities. We also have Mr. Jamie Lin, president of Taiwan Mobile and founder of APP Works. He's joining us from Taipei. Jamie has been an entrepreneur as well as a visionary when it comes to the upcoming economy, and his blog, Mr. Jamie, has provided inspiration to millions of readers in the startup community since 2009. Mr. Luis Ma is currently the IT director of Maxim's Group, a lead food and beverage group in Hong Kong and East Asia, leading a team of over 100 members in different locations. In the past 3 years, he's also participated in the mobile app implementation and enhanced the e-commerce functions, focusing on the systems and applications upgrade to cope with business transformation to digital operation. Mr. Jun Hyun Song currently serves as Senior Research Fellow of the LG Economic Research Institute. He holds a PhD from the Georgia Institute of Technology and is currently focused on digital transformation strategy for LG Group's ICT business, involving mostly big data platform, online customer experience, and AI contact center. We are honored to have such a great panelist with us today. And Ivan, I now give the floor to you in order for this panel to start.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, General Director, for the invitation. This is very interesting because we really see Asia as a leading force of the digital transformation of the whole world, the business world, but the societies. And the first thing I would like to ask for each of you is to expose which are the goals, which are the driving forces you are perceiving right now for the company you represent and for the country you represent. What are you seeing? What are you experimenting? In 3 to 5 minutes, each of you. And first of all, Mr. Shinya Kukita, please, what are you seeing in Japan, in NEC? What are you pursuing? Your microphone, please, Shinya.
Yes. Okay, right. Now you can hear me. Okay, so thank you for the introduction, Ivan. My name is Shinya Kukita. I'm with NEC for many years. NEC itself has a long history, over 120 years, with 100,000 employees global. And we started our business by manufacturing the telephone appliances. But since then, we have expanded our business almost all the way along the evolution path of the communication and the computer technologies. And then nowadays, we focus on what we call the social value creation, so that we like to apply our in-house research development result outcome to the including the biometric authentications, the submarine cables, the mobile communications, the AI in general, and also the quantum computing is coming. And then I like to mention the 2-3 different things during this introduction part. The society in many developed countries, for all the Asian countries representing this event, as well as Chile, is getting matured very quickly. In other words, aging. So that we need to apply the digital technologies to make our society more efficient and more sustainable. We put our priorities on safety, security, the sustainability, and the equality. And this particular pandemic actually added the new agenda, the resiliency of society. So the second point is, I say, the driver of the digital transformation initiative. We believe our society as well as enterprise need to become data-driven. The business decision in the enterprise as well as the policy making, they should be based on data, and then should be evaluated by data. Unless many of the decisions, once again, in the enterprise as well as in society or in policy, are based on hunch, then an outcome will be unpredictable. And then the know-how is very difficult to be transferred to the next generations or the different part of the society. So once again, we believe the data is the key of the evolutions. But another point we need to understand is this initiative has become rather recently economical feasible. Based on the availability of the cloud computing, the broadband network, the mobile connectivities, the AI and the IoT, the sensor devices, the combining all of those technologies, for the first time, this data-driven, the initiative has become feasible. So the one last point I like to mention in my introduction part is the use case. For IT companies, ICT company like us, it is critical to work with the vertical industry partners. It is not the solution IT company prepare for anybody to use this way, that way. We need to identify the needs and also the goal with our vertical industry players, which includes the food industries, logistics, the constructions, the transportations, virtually, or medical educations, virtually all the vertical industries. And the one particular use case I'd like to introduce today is the food industry. We are working with Kagome. They are the major tomato processing companies in Japan. And then we have been working with Kagome for some years. Actually, we launched our solutions we call the crop space, the crop scope. Then actually using the different type of sensors. Those are the IoT sensors buried in the soil, and also the camera, even the satellite image. And then we gather the different type of data and analyze in the cloud, and visualize the analyzed data and the feedback, the solution, the data to farmers to make them work more effectively. In our experience in Portugal, proved they can produce the 30% more of harvest with the 20% less fertilizer used. So that we like to apply this type of IoT, big data, AI feedback things. And actually it is not limited to, the benefit is not limited to the farmers. Actually, we will connect the chain of the values, the farmers, the processors, the distributors, and then the logistics companies, and then retails. And finally, it will be the consumer product, the locations or the restaurant. And then we will optimize the total flow of products throughout this value chains. And then,
excellent
yes.
Example, Shinya.
Thank you.
Data-driven agriculture,
yes.
and food processing. No?
Yes, that's just about what I wanted to say in the introduction part.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And now let's talk about what are you seeing, Jamie Lin, from Taiwan, from your perspective in the company, the Taiwan Mobile, but also by the startup accelerator you have founded. And in Taiwan, what are you seeing the most important driving forces for this digital transformation process we are all involved all over the world?
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here, and I agree with what Mr. Shinya has said. Data is really the key in terms of driving everything forward. So from our perspective, we think that we're in the process of moving all the commerce and service industries into the digital world. So one by one, each verticals are digitizing, and the speed is just accelerating. When we look backwards over the last 10 years, essentially mobile internet is the only paradigm shift that's driving this digitization. But if you look forward into the next 10 years, at least 6, 7, or 8 major paradigm shifts are happening altogether. So number one, 5G and all the connected devices it's gonna bring to the digital world. So 4G really only connected the mobile phone, but 5G will connect all the different things, including your cars, your motorcycles, your machineries, your hospital equipments, your watches, your glasses, everything will in the next 10 years start to connect online through 5G. So if 4G changes our life so much in the past 10 years, you can only bet that 5G will be 10x of that. And with the deployment of 5G, the mobile edge cloud or the multi-edge cloud will be also implemented across mobile networks around the world. And it will provide computing power to the smaller devices that cannot have strong computing on its device. So MEC will be the second major paradigm shift that's going to happen in the next 10 years. It's going to enable many of the previously impractical devices to be implemented. Number 3 would be machine learning, deep learning, and essentially AI. So with 5G connecting all the IoT devices and MEC enabling even more of them, more data about the world will be condensed into the digital world. And when you feed those data into machine learning and deep learning, it will create even more powerful AI. So AI, machine learning, deep learning will be the number 3 paradigm shift that's happening in the next 10 years. Number 4 will be Cold War 2.0. So the conflict between the free world and the authoritarian regime would split the world's supply chain and tech stacks into 2. So that's also another major paradigm shift. Number 5, I called it the Great Distancing, which is taking a page from the Great Depression. So with the pandemic not going away, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, it's gonna completely change the way people interact with each other. Look at us, we're having this panel discussion online and people think that it's normal. So this is gonna be the new normal, and with it, it's gonna create a lot of different changes and also accelerate digitization. So that's number 5. Number 6 would be DNA sequencing. So around the world, we're quickly digitizing people's DNA, so we'll know much better about how proteins are produced. With that, we can implement personalized medication and targeted medication. So it's gonna greatly change. It's gonna greatly digitize healthcare and the whole health industry. So that's number 6. Number 7 will be quantum computing. So it's around the corner. It's definitely coming in the next 5 to 10 years. When that comes, that'll render all the ecosystem and tech stacks that we have built on top of binary computers obsolete. So the human society as a whole will need to reinvent computing and everything again with the coming of quantum computers. So that's going to also completely change everything. And then there's even more. So rarely do you see so many major paradigm shifts happening at the same time. So it's going to make things a lot easier for entrepreneurs to disrupt big companies. And it's also going to make it even more important for big companies to work with startups and harness external innovation. If I still have 1 minute, I'd like to give one example. I'm not sure how we're doing with the time.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, so one of the examples would be a company called Lalamove. It's a company that essentially liberalizes logistics. So it's essentially Uber for trucks. It allows independent truck drivers to join this network and provide their services to clients. And with digitizing logistics, these independent truck drivers who used to do 1 or 2 trips a day with their trucks coming back empty now are doing 4, 5, 6 trips a day. So it would greatly improve the efficiency of logistics in cities and countries. So Lalamove started 6 years ago, and it's already operating in around 200 cities in the world, facilitating 10 million truck shipments per month, and it's growing, and it's coming to America and Latin America. So I think that's one of the examples of digitizing service industries and how that can improve the productivity and economic growth, and also empower individual producers to do better. So that's one of the examples I would like to share.
Great,
so the company is called Lalamove.
And Lala, it's a startup supported by AppWorks?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie Lin. And now let's go to Hong Kong. Louis Ma, your company, Maxims, in Hong Kong, how are you seeing you are dealing with this massive transformation into the digital era?
Yeah, hi, everybody. Okay, I'm Louis, IT director of the Maxim Group. In Hong Kong, we have actually we're running about 72 branding in Hong Kong. Okay, from low end to high end, we have the cake shop. Also, we have the Starbucks, Shake Shack, and also up to the steakhouses as well. In Asia, we have operator also covering the Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia, Starbucks as well. Talking about almost 800 stores in Asia, and other is a 200-something store in China. Also, we have the online, offline. We have the retail sector, okay. I think from the big picture, okay, then back to the retail business. F&B, very people-oriented. We provide the food to customer. I think in the half year, okay, the lockdown, the city, the people cannot go out to dining. But since the technology, we have internet. Then about over 10 years ago, we have the smartphone and the apps development. I think there's a big changes of our customer behavior, and we can be anywhere, anytime to engage with our customer. Particularly for the last few months, okay, we have the lockdown, the city, and then the customer cannot go to dining. And then because of that, we're moving the digital transformation faster because the customer have to mobile order. We provide the service to delivery, or maybe take away from the customer nearby, okay, their home. That leading us is to moving forward, okay, the digital transformation per day. In the normal circumstance, actually, maximum we have about every day is 500,000 of the transaction per day. You're talking about is a huge, but how to deal with that kind of the big? You mentioned about the big data, mentioned about the mobile. That is our challenging how to sustain our business, engaging in touch with our customer. I think online, offline has been over 10 years already, talking about how to in touch with the customer through the mobile e-commerce apps. We can complete the transaction and then we can delete the food, like the Lalamove also is very popular in Hong Kong. We can make a partnership with that kind of the logistic company, provide the food. I think the behind the scene is customer use the apps. But actually, we have a lot of the innovation and technology, okay, how to collect the data. It's a real time, okay, to handling the customer transaction, and then we can provide a faster, okay, in terms of speed, delivery, but then for the food, okay, from the kitchen, okay, pass to the customer, not only for the pizza, okay, we still keep warm at least. That is, okay, how the competition with the speed and then provide the good service to customer. I think it's also mentioned by Jimmy is about the new normal, new retail is now we're facing in the next, I think the 10 years will be a big change in the retail F&B business also as well. I think how we have to know talking about the data, we need to know our customer behavior, how they change, engage, and play with the smartphone, I would say. In Hong Kong, it's about per person is in average is a 2.5 mobile phone per person. Talking about, okay, I said, talking about 10 millions of the mobile phone in Hong Kong. Then we have to understand the customer. In digital form, we call it UX, UI. Decide the workflow, the apps, whether it is good or not good, okay, engaging with customer. I'm sure that, okay, from us, okay, we have to cope with leading, okay, the F&B business, okay, in Hong Kong and also the Asia, okay, engaging with the customer to provide a better service. Digital is I would say it's a must, okay, together with our business. It become a competitive edge to sustain the business. It's really crucial. Yeah, this is my comment in general.
Thank you, Louis. And now, what are you seeing, Jun Sung, from Seoul, Korea, the most important driving forces you see in LG, but also in Seoul and Korea?
Hi, again, I mean, my name is Jun. I'm with LG Group. LG Group has a long history too, but people think these days, I mean, the LG is kind of old, a legacy company. So this is a huge threat, I mean, for the sustainability of the company. So we have faced, I mean, witnessed, I mean, many disruption from the online digital companies, I mean, to enter conventional business. And so that's why, I mean, LG thinks, I mean, digital transformation is very important in South Korea. In South Korea, I mean, digital is so, it's kind of scary, I mean, to see, I mean, what is happening in South Korea in terms of digital transformation. Everything is so fast. You can like order food and you can get it delivered within 30 minutes. And you can even do the grocery shopping online and you can get it delivered, I mean, next morning. So you need to, I mean, face, I mean, young generation in South Korea, and the online is one of the most important thing in LG Group. Especially my experience lies in the telecommunication. LG has also has a telecommunication company called LG U+. Online is very popular in South Korea, but in telco business, online is kind of slow compared to the other businesses. So my focus is on the online, which is the driving force of the LG U+, and which is another next battleground, I mean, for the telco company. And also it's an area that other digital companies can enter into the telecommunication business. So the online needs, I mean, some change in telco business, and telco generate a huge number of this data from the people, the customer, and you can use the data, I mean, to maximize the customer experience and also personalize the personal offerings, I mean, to the customers. And this is the weapon we have to compete, I mean, in the digital communication and transformation. So
thank you. And talking about speed, because all of you have mentioned the rate of change, the speed of change we are facing. It's very, very important. And how large corporations like NEC or the Taiwan Mobile or LG or Maxim are dealing with such a speed of change in the business landscape, because as Jamie says, the startups are very fast moving companies because they are very agile, the startups, but the large corporations are so big, very difficult to move. How do you deal with the speed of change? Who would go first with this question?
If I may.
I can take a crack.
Okay.
Okay, let's go with Jamie and then with Shinya.
Okay.
All right, so I have 3 advices that I can give to bigger corporations. So number 1, the company as a whole, if you wanted to move fast, it's impossible because it's big. So you should establish smaller units that are startup-like and run experiments with smaller units. Number 2, you should work with startups. So by working with them, then you can leverage their speed. And then number 3, you want to be, in some instances, a fast follower. So with regards to businesses that are around your proximity or have a potential of disrupting your existence, you want to be closely watching them. And if something is starting to take traction, then you want to use your 300-pound gorilla weight to throw yourself into it and be a fast follower. Then you can reduce the risk and be still somewhat agile. So that would be my 3 advices to bigger corporations.
Thank you, Jamie. And Shinya, what is your opinion about this speed of change?
Okay, I mean, obviously that we need to take Jamie's advice seriously. But I mean, let me introduce our activities for the internal effort and also the something more the business specific. The NEC is a long history company and it's huge, and then it's a dinosaur. It's so difficult to change.
100,000 people, no?
So that, of course, there is a internal effort by the executives. I mean, to put the division and then the effort to distribute those visions throughout the company. But the other one is what we call the change agents. Those are the group of young people, so that to come up with the idea how NEC should change, so that it is a mixture of the top-down and bottom-up, the activities. The more business-specific activities we started rather recently is we started to use the crowdfunding. It may sound strange, but some of our research outcome, it's rather difficult to get the consensus from the existing business unit in-house, so that some of the research result has been exposed to outside, so that we can build the company with the crowdfunding or with the partnership with other startups. Of course, I mean, we will continue to use the M&A as a sort of easy solution to get to catch up with the progress outside of the company. But I feel, I mean, we are trying hard to do something different from the past. But once again, I mean, we need to take Jamie's advice.
Great, thank you
very much.
Okay, June or Louis, would you answer this question also?
Yeah, I think, from retail, okay, we are always the challenging for the speed, because we are wanting, okay, we are talking about is 800 stores in Hong Kong, you know, transformation have to engage with the people. We talk about 20,000 of the staff in our store or shop, okay, how to make changes. But of course, from my perspective, the speed is always on the top list, because sometimes we get joke, okay, boss always asks, not urgent, but fast. But I think from our retail F&B, we have to determine the strategy and then engaging on that one and determine what we should do. Then make it at least minimize the risk, because particularly for our F&B, every single changes is in touch with the customer. What if the app where you press the button and then turning and no response, is very upset. That's why somehow, of course, we would like to have make it fast, but it's a challenging to the management, and also how to implementing about the changes is how to make the people fully aware and how to make it right is more important than the fast. Okay, that is really challenging.
Great, thank you. And June, how do you see this speed of change?
Well, yeah, LG is a dinosaur too. I mean, but it is unfortunate that, I mean, to achieve this speed, I mean, it is impossible. I mean, with doing that with, I mean, internal people. We need people from outside. well, especially in the software area. And as Jamie mentioned, I mean, it is important, I mean, to set up an independent organization department inside the company to give them authority and as well as responsibility. But it is also important, I mean, to get some harmony from the people inside and also the people from the outside. And it is really difficult, I mean, to get such a balance between these two.
Okay, and let me ask you now, Jamie, I also founded a startup accelerator 8 years ago. We have founded tens of startups, and being involved in the venture capital industry and working also for large corporations, I begin to see that many corporate venture capital funds are beginning to be created by large companies to funding their own startups inside as perhaps a spin-off, but also from the outside to attract to the company. Are you working with such a, would say, with such a tool like a venture capital, a corporate venture capital in Taiwan Mobile?
We have a corporate development division that does both investing and also acquisition. So yes, we're working with that tool, but I think you need both the ability to invest and ability to acquire. So sometimes when a startup is better at would be more sustainable as an independent platform, you want to have a weak bonding with them, so you invest and own a minority share. Sometimes when a startup is growing and it's really a strategic business that you want to get into, then you want to have the ability to acquire. So usually I would advise corporates to set up corporate development offices and use that office to do both investing and acquisition.
Perfect. And each of the other three panelists, do you have some sort of corporate venturing fund so as to acquire startups or funding startups from the company?
Yes, we do have the corporate funding, the schemes, and then it's a mixture of the different type of the activities, including the investment in the minority and also the acquiring the company, the whole company. But like I mentioned briefly, one of the interesting combination is with our in-house the research, the outcome with the startup. So as I said, I mean, it is not easy for the innovations to get a support from the existing business. By definition, the existing business is based on the legacy, the technology or the legacy business model, so that we need to mix the insights from the outside and with the technologies that not necessarily embraced internally.
And thinking about small and medium enterprises, I mean, many companies are around large companies as suppliers. Is it right? Every large company has many suppliers, and almost all of them are small and medium enterprises. How do you work with them to increase speed of innovation of your suppliers? Have you have such an experience in Seoul or in Hong Kong or Taiwan?
For the supplier, okay, if we are engaging with digital transformation is through the EDI, the digital transformation, the interface, and then to speed up about the supplier in terms of contract, logistic, and building also as well. And Hong Kong, we have one association called GS1. It's association, it's funded by the government, and then the kind of the collaborator between the buyer and the seller. And then they build a platform, and then we can, it's middleman. Then we can, use on the feature, the function, and then engaging with between, the supplier and the buyer, and then to lower down, to eliminate about the paperwork. It is become a digital transformation part of that. And then we can speak about the receiving, the PO, and also in the building auto reconciles as well. I think that is also one of the, in terms of the enterprise, to improving the productivity through the digital solution, the platform solution on cloud also as well. It's on cloud also as well. I mean, this is a very good idea, and also, it should be sustainable, and then continuously, between the company to company, to avoid the papers, traditional statement, and then through the mailing, and then we should now also even put in the e-commerce, e-platform, and e-invoice. I think there's a good idea on that one. Yeah.
Thank you. And any one of you want to answer this kind of supporting the innovation speed of suppliers?
It's not the, supporting, but I think one of the key features of the digital transformation is insourcing. Unlike the outsourcing of the conventional IT transformation, the companies are doing by themselves inside the company, but also the company cannot do it all by itself, so we need some collaboration. But it is important to have internal capability to get the result from the supplies from the outside. So insourcing is more important ever, but outsourcing is also required as well.
Okay, and one last question, because I promised to end at 23 hours from Chile, so only 1 hour panel. And one more question for all of you, with 1 minute each. We have here hundreds of attendants in this panel, people attending this panel. I guess there are lots of startups founders listening to you now, startups founders. And if one of them would like to connect with your company, with what you are doing there, because they think they have a great solution, is it that you are connecting with startups from all over the world, or mostly from the country you are representing? Is it a global sourcing with startups right now, or not yet?
I'll jump in first, because I really have to go after this. I have a meeting, and I cannot be late. So yes, we're definitely interested in connecting with startups all around the world, and we love Startup Chile. And especially, we specialize in helping startups expanding to the region of Greater Southeast Asia. So Asian countries plus markets like Taiwan and Hong Kong. So if any Chilean startups or Latin American startups are interested in expanding to this side of the Pacific Ocean, especially leveraging all the supply chain and tech talents this region has to offer, and also on top of that, the 650 million people market, would be more than help. So send email to a@appworks.tw. We'll do our best to help you. All
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I have to leave
Go
early.
ahead, go
have
ahead.
A great discussion after this.
Okay, 1 minute for each of you, please.
Hi. Okay, feel free to contact me also as well. I'm also the management committee on behalf of the Messim Group. I think our company did already have some business with Chile already. Is a we are the catering company, and then we have a lot of the sourcing in the global for the raw material, seafood particular, and because we are different of the cuisine in Hong Kong. And that's why if you have any interesting, just drop an email to me, even though I'm IT director, but I'm the committee of the senior management team. And then that's why I can refer to our supply chain and also the logistic part, and then build a relationship with the Chile business, okay? Feel free to contact me.
Thank you, Louis.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We appreciate that. June?
Yeah, so we are, having some good relationship with the company startups in South Korea. But globally, we have only collaboration with big companies like Google or Microsoft. So I think this is something we have to, develop in the future, the connection with the startups in the world. That's something we need to do. That's something I have to do. Thank you.
Thank you, June. And Shinya, please.
Okay, yeah, we are open to the opportunity globally. And then as a matter of fact, besides the corporate funding, our CTO has his own funding to invest the startups. But one last comment is that in digital economy, the digital distance is not the problem anymore. Actually, the Chile and Southeast Asia are located on the opposite end of the earth. But the Chilean companies, they could take this advantage because you are the completely opposite end of the time zone as well as seasons. So that's
right.
You may think, that could work as your advantage to complement or to add the new values in the chain.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for you all. And I give the word to our General Director for the ending of this panel. Jorge, please.
Thank you.
I think our International Director, Carolina Vázquez, will be ending this event.
Okay.
Carolina?
Thank you very much, Director. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of bringing to a close of this first international forum co-organized by ProChile and the Santiago Chamber of Commerce. We are deeply thankful for all our panelists who have shared with us today key insights regarding the pillars of digital transformation, which are truly available to enterprises that are undergoing these changes, both in Chile and globally. We in ProChile cannot afford the luxury of being passive players in the trends that are reshaping global trade. In that sense, our strategic objectives have precisely been set towards making sure that Chilean companies stand on top of requirements of post-COVID environment in order to thrive in international markets. Virtual B2B meetings, training sessions for digital trade, digital marketing positioning, and e-commerce development are some of the tools through which we are empowering our businesses to capture the opportunities being generated. The lessons shared today by Mr. Kukita, Mr. Lin, Mr. Ma, Mr. Sung, and Mr. Vera have certainly been loud and clear to the audience joining us today. There is a great story taking shape within these transformations, and we in ProChile also take note of the lessons learned in order to maintain our position as the best services providers for Chilean companies wanting to export in a digitalized world. Finally, I would like to invite everyone to our second international forum on November 10th, in which we will explore women empowerment in business in Latin America through a panel of experts we hope will represent another step towards eliminating the existing gender gaps in trade. Have a good day to those who are in Asia and a good night to those who stand on this side of the Pacific Ocean. So thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. All the best for you for the future, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.